Okay, I'll try this. So on Einstein, you have 8 megabytes of flash, not 4.
Not changeable.
For the moment, not. Why? Do you want less?
More. If you want more, can you add a virtual linear flash card?
Actually, we could add virtual ATA cards. I mean, the problem here, let's go to this slide again, but the problem here is that this part is extremely complex because you have to handle how files are stored and so on. And this part is limited to 64 megabytes. Well, actually, it was designed with in mind that there was a hard limit of 64 megabytes per store. So I don't know what London Dial did, but maybe if you try 65 megabytes, it won't work.
So can you do can you insert a virtual 32 meg linear flash?
Yeah, we could do this, yeah.
Yes.
But you have not already done it.
No, I haven't, because I'm happy with 8 megabytes.
Oh, well. But I think what some of us are getting at,
I mean,
what some of us are getting at is that we have a physical Newton that may have more than 8 megabytes of stuff on it, and we would like to have a version of it running on a Mac or whatever, which is an exact duplicate of this.
Right. We'd like, if and when our Newton finally dies,
Yes, to
we'd like
be able to get to
to
it that way.
like restore our last backup into something.
Yeah, and continue at least accessing it, even if we can't really use it in a practical manner.
okay.
Right. So being able to have a flash card, would be.
In some
But
interface to there's.
you'd need that in order to, I mean, if I went out and bought a, not that necessarily the Zorus device, whatever this new device is, then I'd want to take my old stuff from my current Newton to the new one. So you need that as a migration process.
Yes, of course.
If you just implement a T-store instead of a T-flash driver, you can make it as big as you want. I mean, there's some of it, but it's bigger.
I mean, if I, yeah.
That's actually what NCU does. NCU has a T-store that's just a file on a
Really?
disk, I think.
Okay. I don't know.
Because the T-store interface is really simple. It's just like new objects,
of course.
objects, read, write.
Well, there is some XIP interfaces that I didn't implement actually, because they're not using Newton-S2.
So if you just make up another format for the file that can store chunks like that,
Okay.
then you can just implement a T-store.
So you say,
There will be no size limit.
An extra couple of.
but you mean here, at this level? Yes, but in that case, I will use my storage engine, because it's a simple interface, but it's a complete transactional object store.
But you'll have to figure out what the file format is going to be to support
Oh yeah.
access.
But since
That flash store, T-store is really doing for you. It's a chunk-based format.
yeah, but here you got all the journal and so on that probably relies on flash drivers being. Actually, I know London Dial told me that it relies on the fact that flash cards are erased by 32K
Yeah.
segments and so on.
Yeah.
So
And you packed in a lot of bits there, so.
yeah, I know.
I'm not surprised it's
It told me some magic and very wonderfully
We were quite
crafted.
surprised, actually, the more we found out about flashcards, the weirder they are.
Yeah.
Because they would say things like, you erase the ones and you can write as many zeros as you want, but you can never change the
Yeah,
ones
you
to
erased the
ones.
one there.
Okay, so we'll design it so that I only set things to 0 as I go. And they said, oh, every once in a while, one of them will change back to a 1. We don't really know why. I'm like, okay, all right, well. Amazing piece of software
Is
there.
X11 one for one between the Zorus and what Apple gives you?
Sorry.
Is X11 one for one the same thing as what Apple
Well,
gives you?
there's a little difference is the keyboard mapping. On the Mac it works. On the Zorus it doesn't work because I do not translate the key codes.
For
you know,
each machine, that might have a different X11.
X11 server defines its own key codes mapping, and on the Mac they just were very lazy, so they used traditional Macintosh key codes, and this is the same as on the Newton. So I have been even more lazy than them, so I just don't translate anything. I just pass the key code directly. But on the Zorus, if you press the delete key, you get an 8 or something like this, because I didn't write a translator. So this is the only difference.
Should I be on the lookout for whether the X11 matches between any machine that I want to host it on? Or
Sorry?
the X,
Version of X11.
is that critical, the version of X11?
No, it's not. It's not. I mean, the current version runs on a lot of definitions, depths, and so on. So even if you don't have millions of colors on there, it will work. I mean, the Zorus only have 65,000 colors.
I missed this whole discussion. I was busy taking pictures and stuff. So technically, any device that can run X11 can run this.
Yes, provided that it has enough memory. I have a Pocket PC with only 16 megabytes. And it's not sufficient. And the Zorus with the standard, the 5500 Zorus with the standard ROM doesn't have enough memory. So I had to use a very bootstrap ROM to remove all the unnecessary programs such as address book of the Zorus and so on to get it working.
And then what type of, usually these handheld devices have slower processors than like our desktops. So
Yes.
how do you intend to get them
So you want
to
some
run faster?
details?
Yeah, we're very into detail.
No, oh yeah, well it is, the Newton code itself, obviously those, take a long time.
Okay, so this is new code for Einstein 2006, which is actually what Walter was suggesting during lunch.
What was I suggesting?
Do you use source code control for your projects?
Of course, CVS. So there is a new thing here. Well, maybe I show you by example instead, like this. Here I've got, this is an image, a backup of the compact flash cards that worked yesterday night that I restored to show you the thing working. So you have here this element and this element are just the Zorus ROM, okay, the bootstrap ROM in case I need to put them back. Here I've got some Zorus packages that are required to run Einstein with X11 server, okay. This is a small script. This is the Einstein binary. It is only 7 megabytes, I think. 7 megabytes of code. Yes. And here you have the ROM that was dumped, okay. Here you have some debugging stuff that is not required. Here you've got the ROM extension, Einstein ROM extension. So on the Newton OS, you have normally one extension. And Einstein works by adding another extension that allows me to define my own flash driver, for example. This is in there. And here I've got the new thing for Einstein 2006, which is an image file, which is actually the image of this and this, plus patches that are applied the first time you run Einstein. So it just takes the modification date of this and creates an image file with lots of patches. And the patches are this. Actually, this is relativity work, but the patches are this. So here, for the moment, I only do 3 patches because the memmove patch doesn't work with PCMCIA for the moment. But anyway, we have only 3 patches, which is the signed integer division, unsigned integer division, and compare 2 symbols, which is something that Newton script does pretty often. You don't agree, Walter? I did profile this to figure out. Actually, I only profile by calls, not by time spent in the functions. But these functions I use very, very often for the sound outputs, because even on the Zorus, where the sound is disabled, it tries to produce the sound, and it does a lot of integer division. It's, of course, much better to implement it natively.